Welcome to Social Curiosity Podcast. I am your host, D'Angelo Verse, where we explore the depths of human behavior, personal stories, and relationships to uncover the fascinating layers of who we are. All right, so I have Katie with me. Katie's super dope. Let me tell you about her. Katie Mayers is a dynamic keynote speaker, best-selling author, and customer experience expert who empowers organizations to transform through decisive action. As a survivor of domestic abuse and a single mother, her journey from crisis to thriving exemplifies her core belief, making the now non-negotiable. A certified speaking professional with a master's in adult training and development, Katie combines research, strategic insight, and compelling storytelling. As a matter of fact, her TEDx talk, The Art of Choice, and her book, Custom Her Experience, guide leaders toward intentional decision-making and 5-star customer experiences. Katie's work reaches global brands, including Honda, Celebrity Cruises, Canada Post, and Volvo, motivating diverse audiences from C-suite executives to aspiring entrepreneurs. Through her Ladies Take Control events, keynotes, and leadership programs, she champions women to find their voice and recognize their worth. Her mission: to ignite a shift from negotiating to non-negotiable action starting right now. Katie Mayers, welcome to Social Curiosity Podcast.
I am so excited to be here with you. And oh my gosh, considering our story and how we met, this is a really cool moment. It was a happenstance at an event we were both speaking at. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you need to get on a TED stage. And we made that happen. You made that happen. And we've been in touch ever since. So I'm so grateful to be here with you.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you. Yes. Now, don't forget about the glue. Like, you were the stickiness to this TEDx talk that happened for me. I know you want to kind of minimize your role, but you put me in the room. And so thank you, Katie. And the thing that I love about you is you don't want to take credit, right? You're just, because what you do for people comes from this goodness, right? It comes from this place where you just want to see people flourish, and you just want to see the good in other people. And as a matter of fact, you'll provide that, and then you will step in the background and don't give me credit for it. No, I'm giving you credit for it. So here it is, live on Social Curiosity Podcast, my TEDx talk. Katie Mayers had a lot to do with that. So there we go. You know what I mean?
Okay, well, I will take the credit. Thank you so much. I'm like slightly blushing if y'all are watching on video.
You're based in Toronto, right, Katie?
I am. Yeah, I'm based in Toronto. My kids live out here. So when I'm not traveling, I am here being mom.
Yeah, love it. I'm so connected to your topic. Now is non-negotiable. I recall moments in my life where now it was about the now and getting traction now, deciding now, moving now, acting now, separating from things that were causing me pain or harm now, right? People now. Like, so let's start with this. Unpack that, right? Unpack now is non-negotiable. What does it mean?
Yeah, so now is non-negotiable. I mean, it's as simple as it sounds. You know, it's not easy to activate in your life, but it's as simple as it sounds. Now is all we have. We don't have 5 minutes ago, and we don't have 5 minutes from now. We don't have 5 minutes in the future. And so everything, every choice we make, every action we take or don't take in the present moment shapes our future selves. It shapes our future successes, our future happiness, our joy, our health, our relationships. And, you know, so I was just on a call with somebody, one of the women that I'm coaching, and something happened. And I looked at her and I said, you're experiencing right now the repercussions of the choices you made in the past. And because in the past, you didn't weigh the heaviness of the fact that by making that choice, you're negotiating with what could happen in your future self. you're now experiencing it. So when you're in the now and you're able to act now, make decisions now that serve your future self, that help you stop negotiating with your future self, you open up an entire new world of possibilities. So the negotiation part is just that. We negotiate with ourselves. It is a constant war between you and you, your mind, your heart, your choices. And that negotiation could look as simple as I working with another woman that wants to lose weight. And so she's negotiating with her future health. She's negotiating with the way she eats and with the way her body is responding to her. And she said to me, most literally, this is the silliest little thing, but I was too lazy to wash the grapes, the 30 seconds it takes to wash the grapes. So I rationalized it was okay to grab the chips. And in that moment, in that now, she negotiated back and forth saying, so the amount of time she negotiated, she should have just washed the grapes and done the thing and stopped negotiating with her future health. But she didn't. She grabbed the chips. And that decision is a negotiation with her future health. So just as an example, so when you stop negotiating, when you start acting in the now, you decide to walk in faith over fear, take risk over sitting in our gap of crap and our excuses as to why we can or cannot do something, your life becomes a series of moments that are non-negotiable that allow you to live the life you will put on this earth to live.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And I want our listeners and those who will be viewing this podcast to understand one thing. This is not just an idea or a theory. This is something you lived, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so your journey as a single mom, right, and surviving crisis to thriving is really inspiring to me. So walk us through a defining moment when you decided now was non-negotiable for your life, your children's life, and what's that story?
Yeah, anyone listening, I don't want you to hear me and think, oh, she just lived that life, her life that way, and she's perfect. And what does she know? No, I have been through the ringer, and I actually equate it to walking in the wilderness for 40 years. I've made bad choice after bad choice. I have chosen horrific partners. I have negotiated with my future self over and over and over again for as long as I can remember. And so this isn't just a nice thought. This is something that actually shifted in me and a choice I had to make in order to be here with you, to have met you, D'Angelo, to have been able to get you that opportunity with the TED Talk, to have this conversation right now. So I got discarded by my abuser, and for 4 days. And for anyone, first of all, we need to preface, if there is someone out there that is in a bad place with a bad human that is abusing you, because it's 1 in 4 women, and 1 woman every 9 seconds is struck or experiences violence from her intimate partner, and 77% of women stay silent. So if you are listening and you are in it, just know that I don't say or share my story lightly, but I share it so that you can have a voice if you chose not to, but you're not alone. So in saying that, I got discarded. My accounts were frozen. Money was stolen. He told me to go sell my body for groceries. I have 3 kids. I had a overpriced rental home that he signed the lease on, and no job. I gave up my career for him, for our family, and I gave it all up. I had nothing. So when he discarded me and froze these accounts at 4 days, after 4 days, I cried and begged, because you'd think that, oh, I'm going to be strong now and I'm going to be like, oh, I can do this on my own. No big deal. No, I had no money. I was begging, because the pain or the comfort of the pain that I was receiving from him was more comfortable, that it was more known. It was more of the more known than the unknown of having to do something different, having to dare to do differently, having to look at myself in the mirror. And so I begged, I pleaded, I cried. He continued to verbally abuse me, and I allowed it. It felt normal. And it was on the fourth day, I was on the floor in my living room and I was curled up in like fetal position, just completely falling apart. And my daughter walked in the room and she didn't say anything at first. She just kind of slid down next to me and put her arms around me. And she let me cry a little more and then said, "Mom." And I looked up at her and she wiped with her tiny little hands, wiped my tears from my face and took my face in her hands and said, "You're stronger than this. You don't need him. We need you.
Wow. Wow.
Please don't go back, Mom." And it's hard to not cry every time I tell that story because no daughter should have to see her mother like that. But that's truth. So this now is non-negotiable isn't something I've lived my entire life. It's something I've had to choose in order to survive and thrive. And it was in that moment where I stopped negotiating with my future and my kids' future. And it started small. Brushing my teeth, eating a meal, making a cold call, reaching out to people and being humble and asking for help, reaching out to a women's abuse center to get therapy because I couldn't afford it. So I had to go through, the system to get it. Every small little action started to amount to bigger, brighter, shinier future, but it was making in the now. I didn't feel like brushing my teeth. Now is non-negotiable. I didn't feel like nourishing my body. Now is non-negotiable. I didn't feel like driving my kids to school. Now is non-negotiable. And I was suicidal for a while. And so it was also, I didn't feel like asking for help. But if I didn't, I wouldn't be here. Now is non-negotiable. And so the concept of now is non-negotiable was born that day where my daughter looked at me and said, "Mom, you've got this. Please don't go back. We need you." And from that moment on, I stopped negotiating with their future in mind.
Yeah, you talk about these daily choices and just made reference to these small increments and choices, and you've been I've heard you say that 75,000 little decisions a day that we make, right? And those decisions shape our lives. So I can imagine that those were some of those 75,000 little decisions, right, that you had to make in your life. And I think we're all there, right? And so kind of shifting to helping others based on your experience, how do you help people recognize and harness those seemingly small moments, right, as non-negotiable decisions so that they can flourish as well?
Yeah. So the first step in any transformation, whether you're making now non-negotiable, whether you want to apply for a job or a promotion, whether you want to hit the gym, any transformation, have tougher decisions without backing down, stop lying, whatever it is in your life, stop the addiction that you have. It starts with awareness. And you have to be willing to be aware that you are actually negotiating with yourself. So if the humans that I work with and the individuals that I coach and the businesses that I work with from a customer experience point of view, it's blanketed across. It's the same thing. If you are not humbly and vulnerably willing to look into the mirror and see where you need to become aware of the changes that need to happen, you'll never make the change. It doesn't matter. So the first step is awareness. What am I feeling? What am I doing? What are my actions? That then leads to curiosity. Well, how can I change? What's the story I'm telling myself? But when you become aware, when you can label it, when you can look at yourself and say, okay, so here's the thing. You follow you everywhere.
Oh, I love that.
From one choice to the next. You are the common denominator. I can blame all my bad relationships on the men I was with, but I had to become very humble and realize that I was the common denominator in each one of those relationships.
Yeah.
And at some point, I knew it wasn't right, but I chose to stay. At some point, I knew I deserved better, but I chose to stay. At some point, I knew that I needed to get out, but I chose to stay. And until I was highly aware of this, I didn't have a fighting chance at actually pivoting and daring to do different. So being aware of the small choices you make every day is the start. Being aware that your small choices and the actions you take every day shape your future and they actually hold consequences is the start. So when you become aware, I have a pivot method that I use. So you become aware, you get curious. So you label it, you get curious about your thoughts because usually it's an emotion that makes you, you're frustrated, you're anxious, you feel shame, you feel fear, you're nervous, you worry, whatever that emotion is that comes up is the trigger point. And then you go, okay, what am I thinking? What action am I about to take based off of my thoughts? Our thoughts are not dictated by our emotions. It's the other way around. So our emotions are dictated by our thoughts. And if we can manage our thoughts, we can manage our emotions. And when you can manage your emotions, then you have the ability to start pivoting. So you get curious with what you're thinking. You get curious with the action you need to take. You get curious about the negative self-talk that's going through your head that's telling you you're not worthy, that you're overwhelmed, that you have too many things going on, that your bills are coming out, that your teenagers are not listening, that they're not doing the dishes. Like you become aware of these negative stories you're telling yourself and you change them. And those are the small moments right there. It's the awareness, finding out the root and pivoting and doing one small thing that will shift your trajectory. So if you think of an airplane, right? And you go 1 degree off course. That airplane decides to go 1 degree off course. Well, over the span of 5, 6, 7 hours, it's on the other side of the world opposed to where it's supposed to go.
Mm.
If you are listening and you are not driving and you're in your room or somewhere where you can stand up, if you stand up and you shift just a little bit to the left and you opposed to walking straight forward, just 1 inch, a centimeter to the left, and you go walk, you continue to walk or you take a step, you're going to go on a completely different path.
Mm.
That's the power of changing small moments. That's the power of being aware of small moments, is that those small moments shift the trajectory of your life.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, 92% of humans by week 3 of January, week 3 of the year, they give up on their New Year's resolutions, 92%.
Mm.
And 90% of humans in general never achieve the goals they set out to achieve. And the reason is we think this big pendulum swing needs to happen. We need to lose 20 pounds in the month of January. We need to work out 7 days a week. We need to meal prep, meal plan all on Sundays and do it right away. We need to do these big things, but we don't need Newton to tell us what happens with these big swings, right? So the pendulum comes, what's going to happen? It's going to come right back.
Yeah.
That's why we have the 90%ers out there in the world that don't actually stick to their goals because they go gung ho.
We just need this
the
much.
small
This is
micro
small
moments
Yeah.
are the ones that are sustainable.
Man, powerful, Katie. You also have a podcast that is called Now is Non-Negotiable. And in your podcast, you blend personal transformation with your faith, right? And I think there's an episode, Winning the War Between You and Your Mind. You highlight spiritual disciplines. Right? So how does faith shift someone from negotiating to non-negotiable action in everyday life? How did it shift you?
Worry about nothing, pray about everything.
Worry about nothing, pray about everything. Sounds like a song. Yeah. Yeah.
Faith for me has been my anchor. I realized I couldn't do it alone. And I gave my worries to God.
Mm.
And I'm not going to pretend to be a scholar. I mean, I'm 191 days into reading the Bible. I'm just learning. I came out of the wilderness after 40 years. There's a heavy correlation for me um, and a lot of the stories told in the Bible, being in the wilderness for 40 years and living through that. I have quite the upbringing. I've made all the wrong decisions, but I had another pivotal moment. So my ex was also a sex addict, and he required certain pictures when I would get in and out of a bathtub. And when it was all over and I was discarded, I had a moment where my nervous system, so I went to go have a shower. My nervous system was so wired to do what he needed me to do that I had no idea what to do with my body. Like it was just, I just collapsed to the floor.
Wow.
And in that moment, I'm like a naked pile heap on the floor crying. I just said, God, I can't do this on my own anymore. So if you're out there and you're real, I fully surrender to you.
Mm.
And that moment, so it was my daughter with the wake up call. That moment, I surrendered my tiredness, my vulnerability, my worries, my shame. I surrendered it to God, and I can't even begin to explain the strength I all of a sudden had. And the way the Holy Spirit would fill me and guide me. And faith has completely allowed me to walk out of fear and walk even though I'm scared, knowing that He's in front of me, that He's guiding my path, that He's been there before me. And I say this prayer all the time, Heavenly Father, bless it or block it.
Mm. Yeah.
Bless it or block it. Knowing that He's going to bless the things that are right for me, that is His plan for me on this earth, for me to carry out His purpose, or blocking it, has been a game changer for me. Having a sounding board that is not another human with another judgment, with another life experience, but is just this beautiful relationship, because that's what I've learned. He wants a relationship with us. And so Jeremiah 29:11, I'm going to botch it for sure because I don't have it completely memorized. But He has a plan for us to prosper us and not harm us. But that, and I have an episode on that on my podcast. But Jeremiah 29:12 and 13 is more important.
Mm.
And we stop at the plan to prosper us and not harm us because it feels really good, because it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm taken care of. But there's a caveat. He has a plan as long as you seek Him, and you seek Him with all of your heart.
Mm.
And when you seek Him with all of your heart, He is waiting. So for 40 years, I had no idea who God was.
Mm.
I didn't even know that I believed that He existed. My parents were addicts. I raised my brother and sister. I was, molested as a child. I've been through it. I almost died at the age of 26 with my twins. I was in a coma for 4 days after their birth. They came 2.5 months premature. So I could go through all the wilderness, right? All the things that I went through. So I didn't believe God existed. I'm like, what? God, why would He put someone through that? And then you layer in the abusive relationships and so on. I wasn't seeking Him, but the moment I did, He was there.
Mm.
And that scripture, there's so much promise and hope in that scripture. So I'm probably going off on a
No,
tangent,
I
but
can listen to you talk for hours. Just keep. I love the story is so rich. It's so meaningful. The psychological resilience, the faith. I resonate with all of it. It's clear you challenge negotiating with with your joy and negotiating with your health, peace, and purpose, even faith, even right? Like,
Mhm.
uh, what's the most common negotiations that you see people making? And how do you guide them in recognizing these areas where now must be non-negotiable?
Their happiness, their joy. It's a someday. I'll be happy when. I'll be happy when I have the money. I'll be happy when I have the right partner. I'll be happy when my kids go to college. I'll be happy when my baby starts sleeping through the night. I'll be happy when I get the promotion. I'll be happy and joyful when. And the reality is, and this is what I've learned from being pruned down to nothing, I had everything taken from me. Being happy now is the key to being happy in your future.
Mm,
Because the reality is you have so much to be grateful for, even in the dark.
mm,
The light shines brightest in the dark. And if you focus on your joy right now, like one of my principles that I've put into place, and it's one of my guardrails that I live by, is I measure my success now based off of the moments of joy I feel.
mm,
If what I'm doing doesn't bring me joy, I don't do it
mm.
because I'm done negotiating with my happiness.
Yeah.
I'm done living someday when this gets better, when I grow, when he's different, so I would say that's the most prevalent, sort of polarizing area in people's lives, is especially with social media and comparison and the rat race and the hustle. We negotiate with our happiness. And our happiness is the release of dopamine and serotonin. And when we're hustling and not happy and living in some day, we're coursing cortisol through our body, which causes disease. And disease, I mean, yes, food has something to do with it, working out has something to do with it, but it's the cortisol we feel. Why not be happy now?
Why not? Why not? I think that is the message that I try to put out there in terms of flourishing and helping people become their ideal selves, have better social relationships, and reach their potential. You've also done work, right? You're a consultant, and so you help businesses with their customer experience, and probably even inspired your book, right? Custom her experience, which was so dope when you gave it to me. My wife carries it around like a second Bible, right? But you teach businesses to avoid transactional interactions, right? And we can't do away with all transactional interactions, right? And I think I mentioned to you earlier that the guy that comes and repairs my water heater, right? That's a transaction. But what's stopping me from asking him his name and learning a little bit more about his story and his kids and things like that, right? So we can have some relational interactions within the transactions. But so, how have you applied the principle of now is non-negotiable in shaping other meaningful experiences, even as it relates to business?
Yeah. So when I work with organizations, the first place I start is the mindset shift. So I won't take people's money if they're not willing to actually do the work. It's just a waste of my time and it's a waste of their money. I can come in and give them all the strategies and tools, but what good is it is if they don't actually do it. I believe that another thing you'll hear me say all the time is the result you want is on the other side of I don't feel like it. That result that you're looking for. So whether it's a higher NPS, a better culture, better hiring practices, happier customers, a happier life, a fit body, that result is on the other side of I don't feel like it. And in order to get over that hump of I don't feel like it, you have to stop negotiating. You have to shift your mindset and act in the now. And so when I work with organizations, before we even get to designing the guest experience, we shift their mindset. And so we do a lot of work on getting out of their gap of crap, right? Getting out of their excuses where they are to where they want to be and all the reasons why they can't, won't, it's more won't get to the other side because they can, they just choose not to. And so a lot of my clients will say, yeah, if you work with Katie, get ready to have the mirror held up.
Yeah.
She gives me mirror moments all the time. That's what they call it, mirror moments.
Mirror moment.
Where it's like, okay, now that you're blaming this reason, what could you have done differently?
Yeah.
And so that when working with organizations, unfortunately, because we are in that rat race and we are, we're busy being busy and reacting and creating more busyness and more meetings and more reasons why we can't interact. So going from transaction, I kind of just have to do this, to interaction where it's, I get to do this, where I get to show up. I get to have that conversation. And a lot of pushback I get is, well, why do I care? I don't know the customer. I'm like, do you like the life you have?
Mm.
Do you like the food on your table, the roof over your head, the clothes on your back? Do you like the fact that your kids are going to college or you have a gym membership or whatever part of your life? Do you like that life? Well, yes. Who pays for that life? The person that you're serving. And so it's time to stop negotiating not only with their experience, but your own life.
Yeah.
Because there's not a business that doesn't require a customer.
No, I get it.
Or else you have no business.
Yeah. And I can imagine what may be an inhibitor or keep people from making the now non-negotiable is, could be fear, waiting, lack of peace. And in your podcast episode, choosing to triumph over fear and embracing the weight of waiting. Talk a little bit about that. Like, how do you personally stay anchored to the principles of non-negotiability during prolonged seasons of waiting or struggle? And you've lived it.
Have I ever? Oh my gosh. So there's a couple of things there to unpack. The wait is normal. I talked about the someday, right? Someday I'll be happy. So you're just waiting to be happy. You're waiting to have the result. You're waiting to find the right man, have the right relationship, all the same examples that I've been giving. You're waiting for that. And unfortunately, in that wait, you've stopped living.
Yeah, I can see
And
that.
so what I challenge myself and everyone around me is to start living and carry that weight, saying, walking in faith, like knowing it'll come. Fear, and I learned this from a friend of mine, and she said this to me, and it just changed. It changed everything for me. Fear and faith are on the opposite sides of the same coin. You can't live in both. So you're either walking in faith, knowing it's all going to be okay. And honestly, if you connect your dots backwards and you look at every hard time you've had in your life, you've made it out, you've been okay, magically it's okay. So you have evidence to back up that you can, in fact, walk in faith. Unfortunately, majority of you listening walk in fear. And you fear while you wait, so you stop living.
Mic drop. You have a TED Talk. You do keynotes around the world. You also have a book. What practical habits or guardrails from mindsets to daily routines do you recommend someone committing to so that they can absorb now as non-negotiable, live a life that's filled with growth and flourishing?
Gratitude. Be grateful for what you have right now. I believe that you experience your world the way you see your world. I believe that what you seek is up to you. And if you seek, you will find. So if you are looking for all the reasons your life is difficult, if you're looking for all the reasons why you can't, wouldn't, shouldn't, if you're allowing yourself to feel the shame, if you're allowing yourself to continuously live in the past, like you can't feed your history and your destiny at the same time. So if you allow yourself to be there, that is what you will find more of. Now, on the flip side, and this is the walking in faith, right? So that's a fear-based approach to life. if you walk in faith and you look at all the things you're grateful for, cup of coffee, the sun shining, the fact that you woke up, you have another shot at life today. If you can look at, so for me, for a long time, D'Angelo, I lost so much weight in like the first year out from that relationship because I didn't have enough money to feed all of us.
Oh, wow.
So I would forego meals for myself so my kids could eat.
Wow.
And so now when I open my fridge, it's my favorite thing to do is to go grocery shopping. So a lot of, oh, I have to go grocery shopping. I'm like, I get to go grocery shopping. Like I get to fill my fridge. I get to have produce. Like I get to have a roof over my head, and I get my kids, even though I felt the pinch, I was able to ensure that they never felt the pinch.
Wow.
When you walk in gratitude and you look for the good, all of a sudden more good just happens to keep popping up. That's the way our RAS works. Our reticular activating system is, the whole, my kids will do this all the time, the punch buggy, no punch back. So they see a VW Beetle and they give me a whack in the car. Their mind is primed to see them, and they see them, I swear, every third car because I have a bruise every time, we get into the... But how we prime our minds in the morning and at night, the bookends of our day, will really set up what and again, those micro moments, what those look like. So I have an exercise I do with my kids every morning when I drive them to school. I ask them, what are you looking forward to most today? And what are 10 things you're grateful for? And when I pick them up from school, I say, what was the best part of your day?
Yeah.
And the goal with that is to get them looking for the good. And so the practice would be get up every morning and write 10 things you're grateful for. And when you go to bed at night, tell yourself 10 amazing things about you.
Yeah.
Celebrate your day. But start to shift from I have to I get to, from woe is me to, oh my gosh, look at what I have. It'll change your entire life.
Katie, this has been wealthy, rich, amazing. Thank you for your time. I truly appreciate it. How can people connect with you if they want to connect with you? How can they find you?
Well, you let me know, D'Angelo, at the beginning before we started recording that apparently
Katie's
easy
everywhere.
to find.
Just Google it. Just Google
yeah,
Katie Mayers, then you'll find her. So that's not going to be hard. That's not going to be hard.
No, but if you follow me on, Instagram is much more my personal life, and you want to know a little bit about me and how I make now non-negotiable in my life with my kids, as a mom, as a partner, as a businesswoman, it's all there. On LinkedIn, if you want to know more about customer experience and how we make the guest experience non-negotiable in businesses, check me out there. If you DM me on any of these platforms, I will get back to you. I answer every single DM. So if you need help, I do also like free webinars, monthly non-negotiable webinars that you can join. I give out a whole bunch of great nuggets and knowledge, and I have an email list. So just DM me, follow me, like, subscribe, share, all the things. And then, of course, the podcast.
That's right. I got to learn the DM trick from you. I'm pretty poor at that. All right, guys, this concludes our episode with Katie Mayers. Until next time, stay socially curious. God bless you, and peace.